Marcus Johnson turned his old blue sedan onto Maple Street, checking his watch one more time. He was running late for the meeting at the research facility, but he could not afford to speed. Not in this neighborhood, not looking like him. The car looked ordinary from the outside. Paint was a little faded, a small dent on the back bumper from last winter. Anyone who saw it would think it belonged to a regular working man trying to get by. They would be wrong about many things. Marcus worked as an engineer for the government, not the kind that fixed roads or built bridges, the kind that dealt with things most people never knew existed, things that came from very far away, things that were not made on Earth. Inside his car, hidden beneath normal-looking panels and seats, were pieces of technology that would change the world. Or save it. Marcus was not sure which yet. Maybe both. He drove carefully through the quiet, streets lined with big houses and perfect lawns. This was Riverside Heights, where rich people lived and where a black man in an old car drew attention. Marcus knew this. He had grown up not far from here, in a very different part of town. The radio crackled softly with classical music. Marcus liked music when he worked. It helped him think through complex problems. Right now he was thinking about the piece of metal in his trunk. It was no bigger than a book, but it could make things float. Actually float. Like magic. Except, it was not magic. It was science that humans were just beginning to understand. His phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Helen Ross, his boss. "Are you close? The general is waiting." Marcus typed back quickly at a red light. 10 minutes out. He put the phone down and pressed the gas pedal a little harder. The meeting was important. They were going to test something today that could protect people. Lots of people, maybe everyone. In his rearview mirror, Marcus saw the police car. It had been following him for 3 blocks now. His stomach tightened, but he kept driving normally. He had done nothing wrong. He was just a man going to work. The police cars. Lights came on. Marcus pulled over to the side of the road and put his hands on the steering wheel where they could be seen. He had been through this before. Stay calm. Be polite. Do not give them any reason. 2 officers got out of the patrol car. The first one was tall and thin with dark hair. His name tag said Martinez. The second officer was shorter and heavier. His tag said Blake. They walked up to Marcus's car with their hands near their weapons. Officer Martinez tapped on the window. Marcus rolled it down slowly. "License and registration," Martinez said. His voice was cold. "Of course, officer." Marcus reached very slowly for his wallet. "May I ask why you stopped me?" "You were driving suspiciously," Blake said from the passenger side. "Looking around a lot, like you were casing houses." Marcus handed over his license and registration. "I was just looking for the right street, officer. I am going to work." Martinez looked at the license. "Marcus Johnson, you live on Oak Street. That is across town. What are you doing over here?" "I work nearby," Marcus said. "At the research facility on Pine Road." "Research facility?" Blake laughed. "What kind of research?" "I am an engineer. I work on government projects." The officers looked at each other. Martinez leaned down closer to the window. "Step out of the car." "Is there a problem, officer?" "I said step out of the car." Marcus did as he was told. He moved slowly and kept his hands visible. Blake walked around the car, looking in the windows. "I smell marijuana," Blake announced. Marcus felt his heart race. "That is not possible, officer. I do not use drugs." "Are you calling me a liar?" Blake's voice got louder. "No, sir. I am just saying there are no drugs in my car." Martinez grabbed Marcus's arm. "We need to search your vehicle." Marcus stayed calm. His father had taught him this. His grandfather had taught his father. "Officer, I have to respectfully decline a search without a warrant. I know my rights." "Your rights?" Blake stepped closer. "You think you have rights when you are driving around a nice neighborhood looking for houses to rob? I was not looking to rob anyone. I told you, I am going to work." More police cars were arriving. Marcus counted 3 more officers getting out. This was getting bad fast. He thought about the technology in his car. If they searched it, If they found it? If they damaged it? What kind of work? Martinez asked again. Marcus reached slowly into his jacket pocket. Both officers tensed. I am just getting my identification card, he said carefully. He pulled out a plastic card with his photo and some words the officers could not understand. It had seals and stamps and numbers. Martinez looked at it and frowned. What is this supposed to be? It is my security clearance. I work on classified projects for the Department of Defense. Blake grabbed the card and looked at it. This looks fake to me. It is real. You can call the number on the back to verify. We are not calling anyone, a new voice said. Marcus turned to see a sergeant walking up. His name tag said, Campbell. He was older than the other officers with gray hair and cold eyes. What do we have here? Campbell asked. Suspicious person driving through the neighborhood, Martinez reported. Claims to be some kind of government worker. Has a fake ID. Campbell looked at Marcus like he was looking at something nasty on his shoe. Government worker, huh? What do you really do? Sell drugs? Steal cars? Sergeant, I am an aerospace engineer. I work on classified defense projects. If you would just call the number on my clearance card. The only thing I am going to call is a tow truck, Campbell said. We are impounding this vehicle for a thorough search. Marcus felt the world start to spin. Sergeant, please. There are sensitive materials in my car. If they are damaged. Sensitive materials? Campbell smiled, but it was not a kind smile. You mean drugs? Stolen goods? What are you really hiding? I am trying to tell you. Please just make one phone call. Verify who I am. I know exactly who you are, Campbell said. You are another criminal who thinks he can talk his way out of trouble with fake papers and big words. Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. In his mind, he could see the piece of floating metal in his trunk. He could see the communication device hidden under his seat. He could see months of work that could be destroyed in the next few minutes, by men who would never understand what they were destroying. He opened his eyes and looked at Sergeant Campbell. Sergeant, I am begging you. Please call Dr. Helen Ross at the Department of Defense. Please verify my identity before you search my car. Campbell stepped closer. The only person I am calling is the judge who is going to put you away for a long time. He turned to his officers. Tear this car apart, find whatever he is hiding, and if he gives you any more trouble, arrest him for resisting. Marcus watched as the officers moved toward his car. Inside that car was technology that could save lives. Maybe millions of lives. Technology that came from another world, and was now in the hands of people who saw only what they wanted to see. He stood there in handcuffs, knowing that in the next few minutes, everything could change. Not just for him, but for everyone. Officer Blake opened the trunk of Marcus's car and started pulling things out. A spare tire, a jack, a small toolbox, normal things that any driver might carry. He threw them on the ground without care. Nothing here yet. Blake called out to Sergeant Campbell. Marcus watched from where he stood in handcuffs. Please be careful with my belongings, he said quietly. Shut up, Campbell snapped. You lost the right to make requests when you decided to lie to us. Martinez was working on the front seats, running his hands under the cushions and along the sides. His fingers found something that felt different from the rest of the car, a small panel that seemed to move when he pressed it. Hey, there is something weird here, Martinez called out. Marcus felt his heart stop. The panel hid one of the communication devices. It was smaller than a phone but could send messages across space instantly. The government had spent 2 years figuring out how it worked. What kind of weird? Campbell walked over to look. Martinez pressed the panel again. It slid open with a soft click, revealing a silver object that glowed with a faint blue light. What the hell is this? Martinez picked up the device. It was warm to the touch and hummed quietly. It looks like some kind of electronics, Blake said, coming over from the trunk. Maybe a GPS tracker or something. Marcus spoke up, his voice tight with worry. Please put that down carefully. It is very fragile. Campbell looked at Marcus with suspicion. Fragile, huh? What does it do? It is a prototype communication device. Part of my work project. Communication device? Campbell laughed. This thing looks like a toy from a science fiction movie. You expect us to believe this is real? More officers had arrived. Officer Lisa Harper walked up to see what they had found. She was newer to the force, still trying to prove herself to the older officers. Looks expensive, Harper said, looking at the glowing device. Maybe stolen? That is what I am thinking, Campbell agreed. Nobody carries around weird electronics like this unless they stole them. Marcus tried again. Sergeant Campbell, I am telling you the truth. I work for the government. That device is part of a classified project. If you damage it... If I damage... It what? Campbell took the device from Martinez and held it up. What are you going to do about it? The device pulsed brighter for a moment, as if responding to being handled roughly. Campbell nearly dropped it in surprise. It is doing something, Harper said, backing away a little. Blake laughed. Probably just a cheap light show. Made in China, I bet. Campbell turned the device over in his hands. You know what I think? I think this is drug equipment. Some new kind of scale or something to measure out drugs. No, Marcus said, his voice getting louder despite himself. Please, you do not understand what you are holding. I understand plenty, Campbell said. He looked around at his officers. This guy comes to our neighborhood with fake government, papers and weird equipment, probably planning to set up some kind of drug operation. Martinez was still searching the car. He found another hidden panel near the dashboard. This one was harder to open, but when he did, he found something even stranger. A piece of metal that seemed to bend light around it, making it hard to look at directly. Sergeant, you need to see this, Martinez called out. Campbell walked over, still holding the communication device. When he saw the piece of metal, his eyes got wide. What is that supposed to be? Marcus closed his eyes. That was part of the camouflage system. It could make things invisible. The military wanted to put it on tanks and planes. Now it was in the hands of people who thought it was drug equipment. More stolen electronics, probably, Harper suggested. Campbell nodded. That is what I am thinking too. He turned to Marcus. Where did you steal all this stuff from? I did not steal anything. I work for the Department of Defense. I am transporting these items to a secure testing facility. Department of Defense? Campbell snorted. Right, and I am the President of the United States. Blake had moved to searching under the hood of the car. He did not know much about engines, but he knew this one looked different. There were extra parts that did not belong. Wires that went to places they should not go. This engine has been modified, Blake announced. Looks like racing modifications, probably stolen car parts. Marcus felt sick. The engine modifications allowed the car to use the gravity technology. It could make the car lighter, faster, more fuel efficient. It was one of their biggest breakthroughs. You are wrong, Marcus said, but his voice was getting weaker. Please just call Dr. Helen Ross. The number is on my clearance card. Campbell pulled out the clearance card and looked at it again. Then he tore it in half. Fake cards do not prove anything, he said, dropping the pieces on the ground. Marcus stared at the torn pieces of his identification. That card had taken months to get. It proved he was one of the most trusted people in the government. Now it was trash on the street. You know what? Campbell said, his voice getting angry. I am tired of criminals like you thinking you can fool us with fancy equipment and fake papers. You want to play games? Let us play games. He threw the communication device on the ground. Hard. The device hit the pavement and cracked. The blue light flickered and went out. Marcus made a sound like he had been punched in the stomach. Oops, Campbell said with a nasty smile. Looks like your toy broke. Martinez was still pulling things out of the hidden panels. Each device he found looked stranger than the last. Things that hummed and glowed and did not look like anything he had ever seen. There is a lot of this weird stuff, Martinez reported. Bring it all out here, Campbell ordered. Let us see what else this guy stole. One by one, Marcus watched as the officers removed months of work from his car. A scanner that could see through walls. A power cell that could run a house for a year. A small computer that could think faster than any machine on Earth. Each piece of technology represented years of study. Scientists and engineers had worked day and night to understand how these alien devices worked. Now they were being handled like trash by people who saw only what they wanted to see. "This is all evidence," Campbell announced. "We are going to have experts look at everything. Find out where you really got it." "Please," Marcus said one more time. "Just make one phone call. Verify who I am." Campbell picked up another device, one that controlled gravity fields. "The only call I am making is to the prosecutor who is going to put you away." He looked at the device in his hands. It was smooth and warm, like the communication device had been. "You know what? I do not like being lied to." Campbell raised the gravity controller above his head and smashed it down on the hood of the car. The device shattered into pieces. Some of the pieces were still glowing, but the light was fading fast. Marcus felt tears in his eyes. That device had taken 6 months to understand. It could have changed transportation forever. Now it was broken metal and plastic. "That felt good," Campbell said. He looked around at the other devices his officers had found. "You know what? Let us make sure all of this evidence is properly secured." One by one, Campbell and his officers began destroying the alien technology. They smashed devices against the car, threw them on the ground, stepped on them with their boots. Marcus watched in horror as years of work disappeared in minutes. Each broken device was a step backward for humanity. Each destroyed piece of technology made Earth a little less safe. "Stop," Marcus whispered. "Please stop." But they did not stop. They kept going until every piece of alien technology was broken, scattered, and ruined. Campbell looked at the destruction around the car and smiled. "There. Now we have properly secured all the evidence." Marcus stood there in handcuffs, surrounded by the pieces of humanity's future, and knew that something terrible had just happened. Something that would change everything. Marcus stood very still among the broken pieces of technology. His hands were still in handcuffs behind his back. His car looked like a tornado had hit it. Seats were torn open. Panels hung loose. Pieces of alien devices lay scattered on the ground like expensive trash. Sergeant Campbell was talking to Officer Harper about what charges to file. They were discussing theft, drug possession, and resisting arrest. They seemed very pleased with themselves. Marcus looked at his destroyed car one more time. Then he did something that surprised everyone. He smiled. "Something funny?" Campbell asked, walking over to Marcus. "May I make my phone call now?" Marcus asked politely. Campbell laughed. "Your phone call?" "Sure, you can call your lawyer from jail. Maybe he can explain why you were driving around with all this stolen junk." "I would like to make the call now, please." "Fine." Campbell pulled out his own phone and held it up to Marcus's ear. "Make it quick." Marcus said a phone number. Campbell dialed it, still smiling like he was doing Marcus a big favor. The phone rang twice. Then a woman's voice answered. "Ultra Black Projects Division, Dr. Ross speaking." Campbell's smile faded a little. That sounded official. "Dr. Ross, this is Marcus Johnson, employee number 7794 Alpha. Marcus, you should be here by now. The general is getting impatient." Marcus spoke very calmly. "Ma'am, the package has been compromised. I repeat, the package has been compromised. I am requesting immediate implementation of Protocol 7. There was silence on the phone for a long moment. "Marcus, did you just say Protocol 7? "Yes, ma'am, full implementation, all assets. Dear God, are you safe? I am currently in police custody. The materials were destroyed during an unauthorized search." Campbell was starting to look worried. This did not sound like a criminal calling his lawyer. "Give me your exact location," Dr. Ross said, her voice now very serious. Marcus told her the street address. Campbell heard Dr. Ross repeat it to someone else, probably writing it down. "Marcus, help is coming. Do not say anything else until we arrive. That is an order." "Understood, ma'am." The phone went dead. Campbell lowered his phone and looked at Marcus with new suspicion. "Who was that, really?" "That was my supervisor, Dr. Helen Ross. She runs the department where I work." "What department?" Officer Martinez asked. Marcus looked at each of the officers in turn. "I work for a division of the Pentagon that does not officially exist. We study technology that comes from other worlds. Blake laughed. Other worlds? You mean like Mars? No, Marcus said quietly. I mean from other solar systems. From species that are not human. The officers looked at each other. Campbell shook his head. This guy is crazy. He actually believes his own lies. Harper was looking nervous. Sergeant, what if he is telling the truth? What if we just destroyed government property? Government property does not glow blue and hum, Campbell said. That was all fake science fiction junk. Probably bought it online. Marcus said nothing. More. He had learned long ago that some people would not believe the truth even when it was right in front of them. He just stood there and waited. 5 minutes passed. Then they heard the sound of helicopters. Everyone looked up. 2 black helicopters were coming fast from the north. They were military helicopters, the kind used for special operations. What the hell? Campbell said. The helicopters circled the area once, then landed in the street. Men in black uniforms jumped out. They had weapons and radios and moved like soldiers. Behind the helicopters came a line of black cars. Big cars with dark windows and government license plates. They blocked off both ends of the street. More people got out of the cars. Some wore military uniforms. Others wore business suits. All of them looked very serious and very angry. A woman in her 50s walked up to the group of police officers. She had gray hair and sharp eyes. She looked like someone who was used to being in charge. I am Dr. Helen Ross, she said. Which one of you is in command here? Campbell stepped forward, trying to look confident. I am Sergeant Campbell. And you are? I am the director of the Ultra Black Projects Division, United States Department of Defense. Where is Marcus Johnson? Campbell pointed to Marcus, who was still standing in handcuffs. He is under arrest for theft and drug possession. Dr. Ross walked over to Marcus and looked at him with concern. Are you hurt? No, ma'am. But the package is completely destroyed. Dr. Ross looked at the broken pieces of technology scattered around the car. Her face went very pale. All of it? Yes, ma'am. Every piece. Dr. Ross closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened them again, she looked at Campbell with an expression that could have frozen water. Officer, do you have any idea what you have done? We arrested a criminal who was carrying stolen property, Campbell said, but his voice was not as confident as before. A man in a military uniform walked up. He had stars on his shoulders, which meant he was a general. He looked at the destroyed technology and shook his head. Is this the prototype gravity drive? The general asked, picking up a piece of broken metal. Part of it, sir, Marcus replied. And this? The general pointed to the remains of the communication device. The quantum communicator, sir. The one that could reach the monitoring station. The general's face got red. Sergeant Campbell, is it? Yes, sir. Do you know what these devices were worth? Campbell was starting to sweat. They looked like fake electronics, sir. Fake? The general's voice got louder. That gravity drive was worth more than this entire town. The communication device could have changed how we defend this planet. More official people were arriving, people with badges and clipboards and very expensive suits. They were taking pictures of everything and putting the broken pieces into special containers. Dr. Ross walked back to Campbell. Sergeant, I need you to understand something. Marcus Johnson is one of the most important people in this country. He has security clearances that most generals do not have. He reports directly to the president. Campbell looked at Marcus, then back at Dr. Ross. That is impossible. He is just some guy in an old car. That guy in an old car is the head of our Xenotechnology Research Division. He was transporting prototypes to a secure testing facility. Prototypes that your department just destroyed. Officer Harper stepped forward. Ma'am, we had no way of knowing. He did not have proper identification. Dr. Ross held up the torn pieces of Marcus's clearance card. You mean this identification? The one your sergeant tore up? Harper looked at the pieces and went very quiet. A man in a black suit walked up to Dr. Ross and whispered something in her ear. She nodded and turned back to the police officers. Gentlemen and lady, you are all under arrest. Under arrest? Campbell shouted. For what? Destruction of classified government property, interference with national security operations, violation of the Espionage Act. Dr. Ross looked around at all the officers. Should I continue? The man in the black suit was already putting handcuffs on Campbell. Other agents were arresting Martinez, Blake, and Harper. This is crazy, Campbell yelled as they led him away. We were just doing our jobs. Dr. Ross walked over to Marcus and unlocked his handcuffs personally. I am sorry this happened, she said quietly. Marcus rubbed his wrists where the handcuffs had been. It is not your fault, ma'am. How long to rebuild? Marcus looked at the broken technology scattered on the ground. Each piece represented months of work, years of study, breakthroughs that had taken the best minds in the world to achieve. 6 months, he said finally. Maybe more. Dr. Ross nodded grimly. We may not have 6 months. She looked up at the sky, as if she could see something the rest of them could not. The monitoring stations have been picking up more activity. They are coming sooner than we thought. Marcus followed her gaze upward. Somewhere out there, beyond the blue sky and white clouds, something was watching Earth. Something that thought humans were weak and stupid and easy to conquer. Then we better get started, Marcus said. General Patricia Stone walked slowly around the destroyed car, looking at each piece of broken technology. She had short gray hair and the kind of face that had seen too many wars. She picked up a fragment of the gravity device and held it up, to the light. 12 years, she said quietly. 12 years since the first crash. Dr. Ross stood beside her. The officers do not know about any of this, General. They are about to learn. General Stone turned to face the 4 police officers, who were now sitting in the back of a military truck. Their hands were zip-tied behind their backs. Bring them out here. Soldiers escorted Campbell, Martinez, Blake, and Harper out of the truck. They looked scared and confused. Campbell kept trying to talk, but the soldiers told him to stay quiet. Gentlemen? Lady? General Stone looked at each officer. You have stumbled into something much bigger than a traffic stop, something that affects the safety of every person on this planet. Officer Harper spoke up. General, we were just doing our job. We thought he was suspicious. Suspicious? General Stone pointed to Marcus, who was now talking quietly with other scientists who had arrived. That man has more security clearances than I do. He has briefed the President of the United States 6 times in the past year. He knows secrets that could start wars or prevent them. Campbell was still trying to act tough. So he works for the government. That does not excuse carrying around weird, fake electronics. General Stone stared at Campbell for a long moment. Then she walked over to a table where scientists were examining the broken pieces. Dr. Kim, she called to a young Asian woman in a lab coat. Show them the recording. Dr. Kim nodded and pulled out a tablet. She touched the screen a few times, then held it up so the officers could see. The screen showed what looked like security, camera footage. It was black and white and a little blurry. The date stamp in the corner said it was from 12 years ago. This is from a farm in Nevada, Dr. Kim explained. The farmer called the police about a plane crash, but when the police arrived, they did not find a plane. The video showed something in a field. It was not shaped like any plane the officers had ever seen. It was round and smooth like a disc. Parts of it were glowing. What is that? Martinez asked. That, General Stone said, is a spacecraft. Not from Earth, not from anywhere in our solar system. Blake laughed, but it sounded nervous. You are telling us that is a UFO? A flying saucer? I am telling you that is a vehicle built by intelligent beings from another world. Beings who have been watching our planet for a very long time. The video continued. Scientists in protective suits were examining the crashed ship. They were taking pictures and collecting samples. The beings inside were dead, Dr. Kim continued. But their technology was intact. We have spent 12 years trying to understand how it works. Campbell shook his head. This is crazy. You expect us to believe in little green men? They were not little or green, General Stone said. They were 8 feet tall and gray, and they were scouts. Dr. Ross stepped forward. Show them the communication logs. Dr. Kim touched her tablet again. This time the screen showed what looked like radio signals, but they moved in patterns that did not look random. We intercepted these signals 6 months ago, Dr. Ross explained. They are communications between the crashed scout ship and something much larger, something coming toward Earth. The officer stared at the screen. The signals looked like waves, but they pulsed in a rhythm that seemed almost like a heartbeat. What are they saying? Harper asked quietly. Marcus walked over to the group. He looked tired, but his voice was steady. They are saying that Earth looks easy to conquer, that humans are primitive and divided, that we will not be able to fight back. Fight back against what? Martinez asked. General Stone pointed up at the sky. Against an invasion fleet, 50 ships, each one the size of a city. They will be here in less than a year. The officers looked up at the blue sky. It looked peaceful and normal. It was hard to believe that something dangerous was coming from out there. The technology you destroyed, Marcus continued, was our only hope of defending ourselves. The gravity drive could make our planes fast enough to fight their ships. The communication device could coordinate our defenses across the whole planet. Campbell was starting to understand. And we broke it all. You did more than break it, Dr. Ross said. You set back our defense preparations by months, maybe longer. Dr. Kim showed them another video on her tablet. This one was from space, taken by a telescope. It showed dots of light moving between the stars. This was taken last week, she said. The invasion fleet. They are moving faster than we expected. Blake stared at the screen. How do you know they want to invade? Maybe they just want to visit. Marcus walked over to a container where scientists had put the broken pieces of the communication device. He picked up a fragment that was still glowing faintly. Because we have been listening to their messages for months, he said. They talk about humans the way you might talk about insects, something to be stepped on or swept away. They think we are weak, General Stone added. They think we are too busy fighting each other to work together against a real threat. Campbell looked around at all the government officials and scientists and soldiers. But we are working together. Look at all of you. Now we are, Dr. Ross said. But it took 12 years to get this far. 12 years to understand their technology enough, to build defenses. And in one afternoon you destroyed months of progress. Harper was crying now. We did not know. How could we have known? Marcus looked at her with something that might have been sympathy. You could have listened when I tried to tell you who I was. You could have made one phone call to verify my identity. You could have treated me like a human being instead of a criminal. But we saw you driving in a nice neighborhood. Martinez said weakly. You looked suspicious. I looked black, Marcus said simply. That was my crime. Being black in a place where you thought black people did not belong. General Stone walked over to the broken gravity device. This technology could have made our fighter jets invisible, could have let them move faster than sound without making noise, could have given us a chance. She picked up another piece. This communication system could have connected every military base on Earth instantly. No delays, no static, no interference. Dr. Ross joined her. The power cells could have run our defenses for years without needing fuel. The scanners could have detected their ships while they were still days away. Marcus looked at the officers. Do you understand now? This was not about me. This was not about you doing your jobs. This was about the survival of everyone you know, everyone you love. Campbell stared at the ground. What happens now? Now we start over, General Stone said. We rebuild what you destroyed. We work day and night to get our defenses ready before they arrive. And us? Blake asked. Dr. Ross looked at the 4 officers. You will be charged with crimes against national security. You will spend the rest of your lives in federal prison. Your families will be questioned. Your finances will be frozen. Your lives as you knew them are over. Harper was sobbing. Our families did not do anything wrong. Neither did the 6 billion people on this planet who will die if we cannot defend ourselves, Marcus said quietly. General Stone looked up at the sky again. The sun was starting to set, painting the clouds orange and red. It looked beautiful and peaceful. Somewhere up there, she said, Beings from another world are planning to destroy us. They think we are weak because we judge each other by the color of our skin instead of the content of our character. She looked back at the officers. Today you proved them right. 3 days later, Officer Jake Martinez sat in a small room with no windows. The walls were white and empty. There was a table, 2 chairs, and a camera in the corner. He had been wearing the same clothes for 3 days. No one would tell him where he was. The door opened and a woman in a black suit walked in. She carried a thick folder and looked like she had not slept much. "Officer Martinez," she said, sitting down across from him. "I am Agent Sarah Wilson from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We need to talk." Martinez leaned forward. "I want to call my lawyer. I want to call my wife. You cannot keep me here without charges." Agent Wilson opened her folder. "Actually, we can. You have been classified as a potential threat to national security. That gives us certain powers." She pulled out a photograph and placed it on the table. It showed Martinez's house. His wife was getting into her car to go to work. "Your wife lost her job yesterday," Agent Wilson said calmly. "The school district decided they could not employ the spouse of someone under investigation for espionage." Martinez felt his stomach drop. "Espionage? I am not a spy. I am a police officer. You destroyed classified government property. You interfered with operations vital to national defense. In wartime, that is treason." "Wartime? We are not at war." Agent Wilson pulled out another photograph. This one showed lights in the sky, taken through a telescope. "We are now." She placed more photos on the table. Ships in space getting closer to Earth. Scientists working day and night in laboratories. Military bases buzzing with activity. The invasion fleet moved faster than expected after our monitoring systems were damaged. They will be here in 4 months instead of 8. Martinez stared at the photos. 4 months? 4 months to rebuild. Technology that took us 12 years to understand. 4 months to prepare defenses for the entire planet. All because you and your friends decided to destroy a black man's car. In another building across town, Sergeant Rick Campbell was having his own conversation with federal agents. But Campbell was still angry instead of scared. "This is all fake," he told Agent Robert Chen. "You people are trying to cover up police brutality by making up stories about aliens." Agent Chen slid a tablet across the table. "This is live footage from our deep space monitoring station. Watch." The screen showed stars and empty space. Then something moved across the view. Something big and dark that blocked out the stars behind it. "That ship is 10 miles long," Agent Chen said. "There are 49 more just like it." Campbell glared at the screen. "Computer graphics. You can fake anything these days." Agent Chen touched the tablet and the view changed. Now it showed Earth, from space, blue and white and beautiful. Then the view pulled back to show dozens of dark shapes approaching. "This is real, Sergeant Campbell, and because of what you did, we might not be able to stop them." Campbell crossed his arms. "Even if this is real, it is not my fault. That guy was suspicious. He was driving in the wrong neighborhood." "The wrong neighborhood?" Agent Chen leaned forward. "He was driving to work. To a job that might save your life and everyone else's life on this planet." Campbell said nothing. Agent Chen pulled out another tablet and showed Campbell a video. It was security footage from the street where they had stopped Marcus. But this video was from before the police arrived. "Watch," Agent Chen said. The video showed Marcus driving normally down the street. He was not speeding. He was not looking around suspiciously. He was just a man driving to work. "Now watch this," Agent Chen said, touching the screen. The video showed Campbell and his officers discussing Marcus over their radios before they even stopped him. Campbell's voice was clear. "Let us see what this guy is up to. Probably does not belong in this neighborhood." Campbell watched himself on the video and felt something cold in his chest. "You decided he was suspicious before you even talked to him," Agent Chen said. "The only thing suspicious about him was the color of his skin." Across the city, Officer Tony Blake was learning about his new life. Agent Lisa Park was reading from a long list. "Your bank accounts are frozen. Your credit cards are canceled. Your mortgage company has been notified that you are under federal investigation. Your children's college funds are being reviewed for connections to criminal activity. Blake stared at her. My kids? They are 8 and 10 years old. What do they have to do with this? Nothing. But that is how national security investigations work. We look at everything and everyone connected to the suspects. Agent Park continued reading. Your wife's nursing license is under review. The hospital where she works has been contacted. Your son's little league team has been told to find a new coach. You are destroying my family. No, Officer Blake. You destroyed your family when you helped destroy technology that could save the world. Blake put his head in his hands. How was I supposed to know? It looked like junk. It looked like technology you had never seen before. Instead of being curious, instead of asking questions, you decided it must be fake because it came from a black man. Officer Lisa Harper was in the worst situation of all. She was the newest officer, the one who had been trying to prove herself to the older cops. Now she sat in a room with Agent Mark Taylor, who was showing her what her future looked like. 25. Years to life in federal prison, Agent Taylor said, reading from a legal document. No chance of parole, you will die in jail. Harper was crying. I just did what Sergeant Campbell told me to do. I was following orders. Following orders is not a defense when those orders involve destroying humanity's best hope for survival. Agent Taylor pulled out a photo of Harper's daughter. The little girl was 5 years old with blonde hair and a bright smile. She will grow up without a mother. She will go to school and other kids will tell her that her mommy helped the aliens, that her mommy was a traitor to the human race. Harper sobbed harder. Please, there has to be something I can do. There is nothing. The damage is done. The technology is destroyed. The invasion fleet is coming faster because our early warning systems are offline. Agent Taylor leaned back in his chair. Do you know what the worst part is? Marcus Johnson asked you to make one phone call. One simple phone call to verify his identity. If you had done that, none of this would have happened. Back at the government facility, Marcus Johnson was working 18 hours a day to rebuild what had been destroyed. The laboratory was full of scientists and engineers, all working frantically to recreate years of research. Dr. Helen Ross walked up to Marcus's workstation. He was bent over a piece of alien metal trying to understand how it controlled gravity. How is it going? She asked. Marcus looked up. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. We are making progress, but it is slow. Some of the technology we lost was one of a kind. We only had one working prototype. Can we rebuild it in time? Marcus looked at a countdown clock on the wall. It showed 3 months, 22 days, 14 hours and 37 minutes. I do not know, he said honestly. We are trying. But those officers did not just destroy machines. They destroyed years of learning, years of trial and error, years of understanding how alien minds work and alien technology functions. Dr. Ross nodded. The president wants to know if we should start evacuation plans. Marcus thought about that. Evacuation plans meant giving up. It meant accepting that humans could not defend their own planet. Not yet, he said. Give us more time. Dr. Ross looked around the laboratory at all the people working desperately to save their world. Marcus, can I ask you something? Of course. How do you do it? How do you keep working after what they did to you? After how they treated you? Marcus was quiet for a moment. He thought about standing in handcuffs while police officers destroyed the future. He thought about being called a criminal and a liar. He thought about having his identification torn up and thrown on the ground. Because, he said finally, if we fail, everyone dies, not just the people who treated me badly. Everyone, my neighbors, your children, people I have never met and never will meet. He turned back to his work. Besides, the best way to prove someone wrong is to succeed despite them. Dr. Ross watched him work for a moment longer. The irony is that their racism might have made us stronger in the end. Marcus looked up at her. How? The president declared this a national emergency. We now have unlimited funding and resources. Every scientist in the country is working on this project. We have more support now than we ever had before. Marcus managed a small smile. So their hatred brought us together? Yes. And that is something the aliens did not expect. They thought we would stay divided. They thought we would keep fighting each other while they approached. Marcus nodded and went back to his work. Outside, the sun was setting. Somewhere in space, alien ships were getting closer every day. But in laboratories across the country, humans were working together like never before. All because 4 police officers had made the worst mistake in human history.